I saw a review zine, probably 1984, Fandom Zone or Fandom Directory, something like that. Kevin Collier put out, and I thought, this is cool. People were being treated like stars. They would put out their little mini comic or their small press anthology or whatever they're doing, and they had their picture and their information. It was like, wow, they're being treated like a news event, like they're superstars. I thought I should have my name in there. So then I thought, well, I guess I should have a book to put out, or else I won't get my name in there. So I need to have a book first, and then you get your name. You had to have some art. You got to draw something and publish a comic book, right? I dropped out. I knew a lot of these people from the Chicago Con back in 1987 and 88, 89, 90. I went to all those. I met Matt Feazell, Tim Corrigan, Larry Blake. All these people were there. But then I dropped out of small press for about 10 years or so. And then it wasn't until 2004, I believe, or 5. I think it might have been 2005 when I decided to check out the Space Con, and I was still living in Washington at the time. So I went to visit my parents, and then I flew from there to here for the con to check it out. And so that was the first time I'd experienced the Space Con, and I decided at the same time to film everything. So I made a DVD of it. So, well, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I think it's going all digital, and eventually it will be all web based, and you won't have anyone printing anything. But I see that happening in the future for a lot of things, newspapers and things. A lot of people don't want to see that go away because they're just so used to it being in print. But I see small press going eventually the same way as a lot of things, and you'll just get you'll have a your book will look like a laptop. You just open it up, and people will be selling you a download, basically. That's the way it'll probably end up. But I don't know how far ahead, but I really see it happening eventually. But a lot of people love to be able to sit down comfortably, open a book, read it, so it'll be a while. But I know down the road it'll all probably be digital one way or another. Bob, I used to try to contribute to everything. Everyone that asked me for a cover, usually it was a cover, sometimes to do a little comic strip for their book. And in mid-80s, I tried to do for everyone that asked me, and it was crazy. But Bob was just somebody else that said, "Hey, do a strip for my first mini comic." And it was called O Comics, and so I just did like one little drawing or something, I believe, and sent it to him, and that became it was in his first issue, and then he's had many after that, and huge, thick anthologies since. But that was the first time I'd heard of him. So I was surprised when I first came to the Space Con and decided to set up and everything that he was in charge of it. So he remembered me because he'd even borrowed some of my ideas for a theme. When I'd have a theme for slamming like robots or whatever, he started having themes in his as well. So, well, as far as what I do, this independent and not mass marketed yet books, the Space Con is a lot more what I need to be coming to as far as the crowd. The crowd are more open to the small press and the different comic books that they see here. But San Diego, I think they're still they just want the mainstream movies, books, things that are mass marketed. And there are a lot of small press tables, but every year it's less and less because they keep raising the price more and more. And it went from like $200 a table to now it's $350. That automatically they're trying to weed out, I think, the small press from San Diego, which is a shame because I think they're kind of missing the boat on the whole comic thing anyway at San Diego. And they cut out, like this year, they're going to cut out a lot of the artist tables to make room for more movie booths and whatnot. So they're going way in the wrong direction, at a blinding speed. So I think eventually it's just going to be a mass media event and not even say comics in the title is what I'm afraid of, But I still like to go and make fun of the people and shoot video and see all the costumes and things like that. And just basically make fun of the whole thing is what we do. Yeah, and the hot chicks. That's good. The Chicago Con, which I'm going to for the first time in years this year, it used to be similar to this in a way. When I first started going to Chicago Con, a good people would all decide to meet. Let's all meet there. And so there were over 100 small pressers that I knew from Slam Bang and some of my other books. And I got a photo of all of them. And I set up my camera, ran and got in the photo, all outdoors, and shot like 100 people. And so it was a huge event, but every year it got less and less, you know. And then what I've heard now, it's pretty much a mainstream comic convention. But I still want to go and check it out. And probably shoot video and make fun of them too. So definitely, the only reason I originally came to SpaceCon was to see Tim Corrigan, because I'd met him in Chicago every year I went, and I loved talking to him, and he always contributed to my Slam Bang. He still is. And so I felt, you know, I'd like to check up and see how he's doing, and he brought his whole family to the SpaceCon. It's like a huge family event, so I'd see his sons were getting bigger and bigger, you know. And they were in small press too, so it was great. So I mainly came to see Tim and Matt Feazell and Larry Blake, and they're here at this con, so that's one of the reasons I started coming, was to kind of catch up with them again. I think it'd be great if they had a little mini film festival of some sort, so, you know, we could kind of show our DVDs, you know, and not really to promote our stuff, but just to let people see it, you know, just to see some of the older shows, or just any independent films would be great, you know, from local. It'd be a whole nother offshoot from comics, I'm sure, but it'd be, you know, it could be related, but they could be showing that like all day, you know. I think a lot of small pressers don't even use what the, you know, like I have, you'll tell them about a really good independent review magazine, and they don't seem to understand that that is their way of getting sales. They will think, oh, that's interesting, and they won't even read it or pick it up. But that's your one way right away to get, you got to get reviews, and that's how I started out with Slam Bang. I just send all these review copies, get huge reviews. I never even had to pay for advertising. I just had people ordering my books left and right and subscribing and whatnot from reviews. And so I think they're already not taking advantage of what's there. You know, when they see an advantage, they don't notice it, because they're so into creating the books. I think marketing them is a whole other thing they have to learn, you know, in some degree.
You use it?
Right now, I can just tell you what I try to do. I have postcards to advertise my books, and I make sure that they're at every convention that I hear about. If I know someone says, hey, I'm over in Georgia and I'm going to a convention tomorrow, I will send them as quickly as I can postcards to hand out. And so I think, and then you get orders, you don't realize where they're coming from, but it's from all this postcards just sending out, and ads. Like some people contributed to my Slam Bang, and they said, we're going to put out a comic, send us an ad, we'll put it in there. And they said I was the only one to send them an ad of other people they asked. See, people just don't realize that they don't take advantage of the situation. So I try to send an ad for everything, and I do a press release, type it up, send those out to web reviews. I've had many reviews done that way, where they're too lazy to type them up themselves, and they'll just run whatever I send them. You know, it's already typed, they're ready to go, and I'll have quotes from me in the press release. It looks like they actually did something, you know, but they just had to run it. I wish I had more energy to see everyone. I always regret that I only see maybe 10% of the people that I really want to see, and even trying to go around and filming everyone, well, we only get maybe a third or something of all the people. I'm glad this is 2 days. I'm still rushing around thinking it's 1 day, because I'm so used to that people go, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's right, we still have tomorrow. So I'm really glad that it's a 2-day event this time.